I think we're there. We're good to go, Margo.
That's good.
This is so good. I know. I love your sign behind you.
Thank you.
So before I do your official video, your official introduction, I wanted, I love to start off each of these interviews with something actionable that people can take in their digital marketing or on their computer communications, anything to make their life easier and more communicative. And because we're talking about productivity today, I want to tell you, share something with you guys today. So what I wanted to share was what I had to share with you, Margo, was that this happens often, and I don't want anyone listening to this or on this live to do this. If you don't have an email signature on your email, and whatever you use, all of the ones that you use, please do so. It could be just as simple as setting it up so that it just has your name, your email address, which will be on there anyway, your phone number, and your website if you have one, but at least your phone number. So I was on a conference call this morning, and people said, I'll say Kathy, where's Kathy? And people are like, oh, I don't know. Oh, I just got a text from Kathy. She can't get on. Okay, send her, call her. And nobody could find her phone number. So what I want to do is I'm going to share my screen quickly, and I'm going to show you some examples of signatures. They can be as fancy as anything. What's the one that I used to use before? I'm forgetting the one I used. But you can find ways to have your picture on there using either just an app, or I just use Gmail, and it allows you to add images in there. Make sure you have your phone number, your email, which will be there anyway, and then if there's a link to any of your socials. This is Wise Stamp. Jennifer uses Wise Stamp to have a beautifully branded signature at the bottom of her email. The Captured Garden has her logo and then all of her contact information. I have similar contact information where you can find me on social media. What I also love about this is I can schedule a call or meeting with me, which goes right over to my Acuity, which is what I talked about last week, to make it so easy and simple for people to get on my calendar so we can schedule a call instead of, I know, Margo, you talked about this last week in a presentation, the ping-ponging. When are you free? I don't know. When are you free? How about next week? That doesn't work for me. Like, get rid of that. Say, here's my calendar. Figure it out. So I love that part of it. And I love offering people 60-day free trials to Constant Contact using that link. And Margo's is very simple, right? Like, she's super efficient. Here's how to get in touch with her, and here's how to follow her on all of her social media sites. So I hope that little marketing tip minute is helpful. And you guys, I'll be watching. If you guys email me and you don't have an email signature, I'll be like, I don't know where to find you. No, I won't. You guys know I won't do that. But anyway, so you guys, I'm so excited. I met Margo a few months ago. She did a really great presentation over at Groundwork co-working space in New Bedford, which is one of my favorite places that I have found since I've moved out here to Westport. It's just a really comfortable place to get work done, to have meetings, there's quiet zones in there, there's collaborative zones in there. They have great learning opportunities, lunch and learn. So I was happy to go to a lunch and learn. Margo was talking about being super efficient in your email inbox. And I was like, yes, this is somebody I need to learn more about. We talked, and we're kind of on the same page, like, why waste time on things, and let's find, let's share the tools that make us more productive. And my tools are often digital, and I found that Margo's are often personal. It's also digital and it's also in person, but it's really gaining control over your actions and you're knowing where you're going with things. And so I'm really excited. Margo and I are collaborating on a webinar on June 6th, and I'll include it in the notes to this webinar, which to this interview, which you can find on the Rise Above Noise Facebook group or on the Susan Finn Online Facebook group or my website. Like you guys, you can find me everywhere. But June 6th, productivity, social media success, tips and tools. And one of the things I'm really excited about in this group is that in this particular webinar is that we are going to be offering a minimum of 20, maybe more, things that you can do in under 1 hour to create 20 pieces or more of content. And then show you how to schedule it out and make your life flow and easy, and you're just giving all of the time. So June 6th, contact me if you need more information on that. Oh, I should tell you that early registration ends tomorrow. So if you want to get in at the $79 fee, then you'll want to register by tomorrow, March 24. Other than that, the price will be going up to $129. So contact me today, you guys, or tomorrow, and let's get on this and be a more productive group. So now, I want to tell you more about Margo Crawford. She is the productivity coach at Wave Productivity. Her goal is to create thriving workspaces by increasing focus, productivity, and success. Margo works with clients to create effective solutions for their life and their work. And her business, Wave Productivity, has helped many professionals create and sustain a productive work environment. From paper or email management to information flow and productivity, Margo is experienced in different methodologies which help her create tailored programs. I don't think I said that right, but you guys get it. She also has a book, Exploring Productivity. She has a blog that's been rated in the top 100 blogs for better work-life balance on the internet. In 2015, she was nominated for Emerging Entrepreneur, and in 2017, she was a finalist for Businesswoman of the Year through her local Chamber of Commerce. So you know what, you guys? We've got the real deal here. Of course, Margo's superpower is being organized, and today we're going to talk about being powerfully productive. I'm so glad that you're here, Margo. This is so good.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful. I'm so excited to share some tips and techniques today.
Great. So let's get started. I know I saw you present on being powerfully productive last week at a local event, and I'd love to have you share some of those tips with the people that are listening today.
Sure.
Yeah, what do you got?
So one of the things that I had talked about in my presentation last week was why I named my business Wave Productivity. I named my business Wave Productivity because I am an avid surfer. So love heading out catching waves, but I also love productivity. So I put those two together and called my business Wave Productivity. And there's a reason for that. A lot of my clients feel like they're holding back the tide. Have you ever had a day where you kind of sat at your desk and thought, there's so much to do. I have this wave of work that's coming at me. I don't even know how to handle it. And so what I help people do is not just hold back the tide, but actually look at that wave, plan for it to come, catch it, and ride the wave so that they can stay more focused and organized and productive. One of the things that I talked about last week in my presentation was about cutting the clutter. So all of you are probably sitting at your desks right now. Take a look around. Are there piles of paper everywhere? What is on your walls? What is on your desk? Just take a look around. Does it really represent the type of work that you do? And does it represent who you are as a business owner and professional? If you had a customer who walked in the door, would they be kind of shocked and reluctant to hand over any paper because it would get caught in those piles? Or would they know that you're on top of things, that you're organized, that you're able to get things done? So what I suggest you do is take a look around your office and find one thing that you could let go of. One thing that no longer serves you. It could be a picture, it could be a binder of paperwork, It could be one sheet of paper, and then let it go and purge it out.
That's an interesting thing. I would imagine too that once you start looking around and saying, oh, this notebook, oh, this card, oh, this stack of notes, that the more you start looking, the more you keep finding things to get rid of. Is that kind of where you're going with that?
Absolutely. So I think with every experience I've had with a client where we're going through their desk drawer, we'll pull out this thing. It maybe looks like a screw, and they're like, I don't know what this goes to, but I've had it for years and I wasn't sure if I should throw it away. But and I'm like, okay, I think we can let it go now. So find that thing that it's like, oh, it's okay. I've had this for years. There's no match. I think I can let this go now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I know that, as you know, I moved recently. And I had 22 years of all that stuff.
Yes.
And letting go of that was so good because it was only hard for a minute. It was only hard while it was in my hand. But then once it was in the trash or in the giveaway pile, it was no longer in my head. And now I don't have to carry that weight around with me.
And that's what's great with working with a professional organizer is that a lot of times when we hold on to something, it's harder for us to let go. I don't know if it's the physical feeling of it, but if we can have someone who holds it up for us and says, do you want this? Then you're not touching it. And sometimes you can make a quicker or faster decision.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So get together with a friend or hire a productivity consultant or professional organizer who will help you hold up that thing and then say, okay, can you let this go?
That's great.
Yeah.
What other tips do you have for us within our spaces?
Sure. So I love this one, and it is related to social media. I know we're having that webinar in just a few weeks, and I call it Halt on Social Media. But it really is for any type of work that you're doing, whether it's answering an email, getting on social media. HALT stands for hungry, angry, tired, or lonely. So if you're feeling hungry, angry, tired, or lonely, halt, stop what you're doing, go take care of yourself, do a little self-care, and then come back to work. Because if you're hangry, you could be hangry.
I could be.
Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, you're going to answer that email or make that post that maybe might be a little bit angry, tired. You might be reaching out in a weird way because you're lonely and you want to show up as a great business professional. So staying away from social media and email and any kind of work until you can get the self-care that you need.
That is so, oh my gosh, you guys, we could stop right there because that is so good. I think I should make a poster about that. I should do that.
Yeah.
So I know that a lot of the people, most of the people that I work with or seem to be in my community are solopreneurs, and we're trying to get everything done. And often, this is what I hear a lot. Oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm doing 15 things at once and I never feel like I'm getting anything done at all. Do you have any wisdom for us on that?
Sure. So I would say keep a general to-do list. All the things that need to get done. And then at the beginning of the day, pick 3 things, transfer them over onto a small Post-it note and work off of that. So you're not feeling overwhelmed with all of the things you have to do. You're just focusing on those 3 things. When I'm working with my clients, what I ask them to do is, what are the 3 actions that are going to move you forward and that are revenue generating? So making sure that our first actions out of the gate, when we have the energy, is to hit those actions that are going to drive money into the business.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at those revenue generating tasks. Just choosing 3 and focusing on those. Now, if you get those 3 done, that's awesome. Pick 2 more. But many of us, I was just talking with a client this week and she said, I have 15 things on my to-do list for today. Far too many. So then you always feel like you're behind the 8 ball, that you haven't gotten done the most important things. And it's because we set ourselves up that way. So instead of setting ourselves up for failure and picking 15 things, why don't we set ourselves up for success? Feel like rock stars that we got it done, and just choosing 3 things that we can focus on.
I love that. That is actually in the Rise Above Noise mastermind groups that I run. I have 2 different levels of those. And people, when I get the feedback after the group, they're assigned an accountability partner. And what they're to do is have, I like to say daily, they're grown-ups, they'll figure out what they do. But the model is that every day at the same time, you have a call with your accountability buddy. And you've already done your journaling, you've done your gratitudes, and you've already written down what went well yesterday, so you're raising the vibration. And then you take a look at that larger general list like you're talking about, Margo, and you determine what are the 3 things you're going to do in that particular day to move you closer to your long-term revenue goals. And then you get on the phone with your accountability buddy, you set a timer, 5 minutes, and the first person says, here's what I got done yesterday, super excited about it. Here's the 3 things I'm doing today to help me reach that longer term goal. Then the other person goes and it's 5 minutes and it's done. And the power of saying it out loud to each other and knowing that somebody else is kind of connected to you in those goals and those tasks has been powerful. And that's what I've gotten a lot of feedback on, is that's one of the favorite parts of the program that people enjoy about that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I think accountability is wonderful. And I think, in that 5-minute conversation, it might be difficult to have the larger conversation. And one of the larger conversations in accountability, and this is how I view it with my clients, is, okay, great, you got it done. Fantastic. What happened? What was the setup? What was successful about that? What felt good? So that we can start recreating it in other areas of your work.
Yes.
Now, if a client comes to me and says, I didn't get the work done, just didn't do it at all, my answer is going to be the same. Great. Fantastic. What did you learn? What was the setup? What held you back? How could you course correct and move forward? What are the things that are holding you back that you can let go of? And what do you need to step into? What mindset do you need to change? And then from there, really looking at how can you move forward into other areas for success.
I'm writing all this down. This is so good.
So with accountability, a lot of people think, oh no, I'm going to get a slap on the hand if I didn't do it, if I didn't get it done. Yeah. And that's what drives them. And really we need to have more of an internal conversation about what drives us and motivates us.
Right.
It's not about right or wrong. It's really about, what did you learn?
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about if people are just, maybe this is the same thing as I said, but I often talk about the roller coaster ride of being a solopreneur, right? And I feel like, I'm killing it. I'm getting it all done. And then the next day I'll be like, oh my God, I can't get anything done. I've got my mind in a million different ways. And I know you talked about the 3 things, and I think that is super helpful about that. Are there any other tips for us to kind of just zone in and know that we're making progress? It might be a repeat question, but maybe you have another tip for us.
So one thing you can do is keep kind of like a gratitude journal, or even a journal saying, this is what I did well today. What was my win today? And that's sort of what your accountability call is about, is that, okay, what was my win yesterday and how am I moving forward today? So writing down your wins, sharing your wins with other people, but also who is in your tribe, who are the people that you can go to on those days when maybe you're not feeling so great. Knowing who you can reach out to and talk to, because as business owners, we all have those days. One of the things that I do for focus, especially with a project or maybe an activity that I'm not so keen on, I don't like it either, and I know that I might procrastinate, is I just set a timer for 25 minutes. So just 25 minutes, and if in that first 5 minutes, the first 5 minutes ends and I'm still really hating what I'm doing, then I'm just gonna back off and stop. I'll do something else. But what studies have shown is if you can get over that hump of the first 5 minutes and kind of get into a little bit of a flow, then you can start digging into the work that you need to do. And after 25 minutes, you can then decide, okay, do I want to keep going with this? Or have I taken a pretty decent stab at it and I can continue tomorrow? So doing these shorter bursts of work with the energy that you have, instead of saying, okay, let me just take 3 hours right now or 4 hours, half a day, and get all this social media done. Write out all my posts, or, work on this gigantic project. Sometimes those shorter bursts can help move you forward, can also help in deciding what's the smallest next step you need to take. What's the next action that you need to take that will move you forward? So I think I mentioned this in my presentation. There was a presentation that I had where there was a gentleman sitting in the front of the room, total millennial, beard, tattoos, he had the flannel shirt, he was pretty cool looking. And I asked the group, okay, so who here has a project that they feel overwhelmed about? And his hand shot up right away. And he said, I need to get a website for one of my clients, and that's my task. And I was like, okay, well, that's really the project. That is the outcome of what you want to have happen. What is your next smallest step? And he looked at me and he said, I really just don't know. I don't even know where to begin. And so I said, okay, can you open up your computer, turn it on? And he's a little cocky and he's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, great, okay. So then that's the first step. What's the next step? And he said, well, I would need to open up WordPress. Okay, can you do that? And he's like, yeah. Okay, what do you need to do after that? Well, I have all the clients' content that I need to type in. So I just need to grab that content. Great, do you have it with you? Yeah, I do. Let me grab it. So he reaches into his bags and he pulls it out. And then I said, okay, so what needs to happen next? And he's like, well, I have to start with the homepage. Let me start there. And so he started adding in the content. So he knew exactly what he needed to do. As he was moving forward with those smaller steps, even when it was, I'm just going to turn on my computer, he felt really great about it. He felt cocky. Yeah, I can do that. And that's how we want to feel too. Maybe not cocky, but feeling really good. Like, yeah, I've got this. I can keep moving on. Oh, this next step. Oh yeah, that's easy. If the next step feels hard, if the next step feels difficult or overwhelming, that means you haven't broken it down enough. Break it down so that you feel completely successful. You feel really good about moving forward and doing the work.
That's a good one. Break it down. I forget about that a lot.
I think it's one of the most difficult things that I had to learn. So I've been doing this for over 15 years. And even now, sometimes I'll look down at like, what's the next thing I have to do? And I think, oh gosh, I haven't broken this down enough. And I find that my clients struggle with that too.
That is so brilliant. And so that is something that you help people with so let's say that they feel like, all right, my office isn't so bad. My office isn't my issue. My issue is I just can't get stuff done. I'm wasting time. I'm spinning my wheels. So this would be something, I suppose, that they could bounce ideas off of. You would come in and kind of see what was happening and help them break down their tasks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've also worked with a lot of entrepreneurs where they have this fantastical idea, this new business that they want to create. I was working with someone who had an idea for over 10 years. So they kind of mulled it around for literally a decade. And then we sat down together and she said, you know what? I've been thinking about this for so long. If I don't work on it now, I may as well just forget it.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually did coaching over the phone and we looked at, okay, what is this idea? How can we start breaking it down? What are the phases that you need to do? When do you need to do those phases? By when do you need to get that all done? Get those phases complete. And within 8 months, she had launched an online business where people could buy t-shirts and other products. And she's continuing to expand that model and the product line to include jewelry, to include a whole bunch of different items. And she did that within 8 months and got it off the ground and got it going. So if there's an idea that's kind of lurking around, you can't really kind of get a handle on, I can help with that as well. Getting that mental clutter that kind of roams around in our head and getting it down on paper so that you can take action. There's a great productivity guru. His name is David Allen, and I love his quote. It says, our minds are not a warehouse. Our minds are a factory, which means that our minds are not meant to store information like, I need to buy milk today. Don't forget to buy flowers for Mother's Day. All these little things that keep roaming around in our head, and then we don't have the bandwidth for those larger creative ideas that we want to have. And so when we can move all those things that are kind of clogging and cluttering up our mind, we can start working on some of the more creative pieces in our work and our work with customers and clients.
So good. That is so good. I'm so excited that we met and that we've been collaborating. I invite anybody who is trying to squeeze that extra juice out of their day, have that sense of calm and control, and going into, in this case, we'll be talking about social media in our webinar, going into their platforms, going into their marketing on social media activities with that sense of calm and control, as you can see that Margo offers. I'd love to see you guys on the webinar. But Margo, I see that you have a free ebook that you offer people.
I do. So if you go to my website, which is waveproductivity.com, on the first page is an ebook. And that ebook really looks at what are the challenges that you're having with productivity? What issues do you have that hold you back? It is an interactive workbook. So it's something that you print out, you can sit down, it's about 15 pages long, and you can make notes, check marks, highlight all of the challenges that you're having. And at the end of the ebook is some really great tips and techniques for many of the challenges that people face with productivity in an organization. So you can go to my website, which is waveproductivity.com, click on the ebook, and you will also get access to my blog. So I have a blog that comes out twice a month that has really great information on all types of productivity issues and challenges that people have, and wonderful information on ways that you can move forward.
That's so generous. Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
then if people are interested and they're like, well, can she help me? I'm not sure. Is there a way for them to kind of get a taste of you on a one-to-one?
Sure. So anyone who's listening to this, who has watched the video, I will offer a free 30-minute consultation. So if you go to my website, you can go to the contact form and fill out the information. You can also just email me, margo@waveproductivity.com. And I'm happy to set that up with you to talk about what issues and challenges you have and ways that we can work together.
I'm putting that in the chat. Thank you so much for spending this time with me,
Thank
Margo. This has been so great. I love that you have that sign behind you, and I'm like, I think I might have to get a sign next. It looks so good and so professional. I'm
Thank you.
looking forward to meeting with you again soon to put our final wrap up our webinar for June 6th. I'm hoping that people will sign up and join us for even more yummy tips. And I think that's it for today. You guys get your email signatures and make your 3 tips, 3 things every day that you want to get done, and get it done.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Margo. All right, I have to figure out now how to shut this off. You guys, I'm still learning. There we go.